Take a deep breath, Bolt Nation, because the energy hits different today. Something sparked on the road, against a rival that swore it would control the script, and the response came with authority. There's a leading man smiling under the biggest lights, a piece plenty wanted traded silencing critics with clutch plays, the coach's message turning into on-field attitude, and believe it, a quiet colossus guarding the future. And that wasn't even the most surprising part of the day. Has the message to the division already been delivered? You won't believe what we've got today. So take a seat, drop a like, and let's go straight to the news. You know that feeling when the script looks ready to replay the same old pain, the stadium cools early, the clock crawls, and your mind races back to gut-punch comebacks. Not this time. Los Angeles came out of the huddle with a different charge and struck first, 7-0 in the opening quarter. Like a message, the story changed. Fans held their breath because they know the roller coaster, but they watched a team that refused to be the victim on anyone's comeback tour. No supporting role, firm posture, clean communication up front, and execution that looked rehearsed for big nights. When the lights got brightest, our quarterback showed why he carries the franchise. Justin Herbert read the shell before the snap, flipped protections, adjusted ball placement, and attacked windows with precision. The result was the kind of game that quiets a lot of noise. 3 touchdowns, emotional control of the tempo, and 300-plus passing yards that sent a message to the division. The best part? He didn't do it alone. 4 receivers finished with over 50 yards, proof of an offense that spreads targets, forces defensive adjustments, and keeps opponents guessing. When the defense protected the deep third, the middle opened up. When they squeezed the middle, the sideline punished them. For the fan base, it was relief and rocket fuel. All week long, the storyline was the rival trying to dump a bitter Super Bowl from the rear view. On the field, we set the tone. No panic when the score tightened. Maturity on third downs and ice in the red zone. When the opposing crowd tried to swell, we answered with long marches, secure conversions, and possession that drained the clock and their patience. That composure is the antidote to the almost syndrome. Instead of waiting for the final punch, the team managed the lead and answered point for point, snap by snap. Technically, the visible tweak had a name: tempo. Quick game to blunt the pass rush, well-drawn high-low reads, attacks over the middle when the safeties bailed, and above all, the discipline to take the check down and live to the next down. The edges held up to let the quarterback work through full progressions, and he managed risk like a veteran. Sustainability over hero ball. If this pattern shows up again versus the Raiders in Week 2 and the Broncos in Week 3, the conversation shifts from hope to control, and the head-to-head tiebreaker already points the way. It's the kind of performance that rewires locker room psychology and shakes the division's balance of power. The competitive impact goes beyond the buzz of opening with a win over a direct rival. In a division decided on razor-thin margins, every possession matters, and every divisional win counts double. The word isn't euphoria, it's opportunity. Load management, fine corrections, and humility to evolve all come before speeches. But one thing is non-negotiable. Respect isn't requested, it's taken. Today, fans can enjoy the rest of the weekend with a lighter head, because the message came through clearly. And that still wasn't the day's most surprising piece. It was in Sao Paulo, where the tide truly turned. What was supposed to be the rivals' redemption showcase became the Chargers' stage of affirmation. A 27-21 that feels bigger than the score suggests, because every snap carried the same message: this team fears no one. While the world waited for Mahomes to re-emerge, Los Angeles showed discipline, courage, and new stars ready to shine under international spotlights. Among all the standouts, one name stole the scene and silenced critics who wanted him gone. Third-year wideout Quentin Johnston didn't just show up, he ignited. 79 yards, 2 touchdowns, and maybe the birth of a confidence that can change the arc of the season. The first TD opened business in the first quarter, breaking the ice and signaling the receivers had something to say. The second, late in the fourth, was the dagger picture-perfect route. Veteran calm, game sealed. He nearly had a third on a tough end zone shot, but that detail turned into a chance for Keenan Allen to find the end zone too. The back and forth between youth and experience gave the offense a fresh face, unpredictable and lethal. Context matters. Fans spent months demanding reinforcements at wide receiver. Johnston became a trade rumor magnet, accused of drops and stalled development. He was treated as the weak link, until in Sao Paulo he rewrote his own narrative. That performance wasn't just numbers, it was a statement. Strong hands, crisper routes, and most importantly, the confidence to win through contact. It's the kind of game that changes how teammates look at you in the locker room and makes analysts rethink their hot takes. Tactically, the impact is massive. If Herbert can trust Johnston as a real complement, the offense gains depth and variety. Defenses that used to shade Allen and the backs now have to honor a third threat. That opens the door to formation tweaks, bolder sets, and even speed packages that can shred thin secondaries. A young receiver hitting this quickly in a divisional showcase changes how the offensive coordinator sketches the playbook, and the fan reaction from skepticism to euphoria. The same crowd that wanted the #1 shipped out is now celebrating the front office's Angeles' conviction to keep him. On social media, plenty owned their miss. If this is the guy every week, nobody's stopping this offense. That's how narratives morph into seasons. More than stats, it's the feeling that overlooked pieces are ready to surprise. All of it happened in front of a rival still trying to recover from a harsh Super Bowl. Now the doubt is on their sideline. Can they maintain control? For Los Angeles, this was just the beginning, and we haven't even gotten to the most unbelievable part yet. It was more than a road win, it was a reality check inside the division. The victory in Brazil wasn't built on pretty stats alone, but on something deeper: intensity. Every snap felt urgent, like the team knew there was no margin for stumbles. The rival admitted as much publicly. Andy Reid talked about starting without energy. Mahomes acknowledged that if you don't come in with the right mindset, you lose. The line reads like diagnosis and confession at once. The Chargers simply wanted it more. That difference in posture isn't a detail, it's culture. Head coach Jim Harbaugh brought exactly that ingredient, turning talk into action. Undefeated in season openers, he knows the weight of the first message. Last year, the schedule was kind and the team still slipped early. This time, the climb was as steep as it gets, and the response was relentless. Herbert played free, the defense fed the crowd's charge, and the sideline erupted at every stop. The vibe felt like college football, players barking, coaches clapping, a true competitive cauldron. For a fan base accustomed to frustration, watching the team compete like this is almost cathartic. On the tactical level, the separator was execution in do-or-die downs. The offense converted critical third downs, stretched drives, and didn't let up. While the rival sputtered early, Los Angeles sustained rhythm with short passes, downhill runs, and pre-snap motion that messed with reads. The defense answered with disciplined eyes, keeping contain on Mahomes, refusing to bite on scrambles, and above all, secure tackling that erased explosives. That collective discipline shows Harbaugh's plan took root. The impact goes beyond the scoreboard. Psychologically, that kind of control shifts the division's narrative. For years, the script was to wait for Chargers' mistakes. Today, it's the rival who has explaining to do. That messes with confidence, flips headlines, and even changes how upcoming opponents prep. The Raiders and Broncos won't see Los Angeles as fragile anymore. They'll see intensity and a legitimate threat, pressure inverted. And the crowd in Brazil was part of the transformation. The environment was split, but the decisive plays sounded like a tide of blue and gold. The international footprint matters too, showing the world these Chargers can be global headliners. On social feeds, clips of fans celebrating in Portuguese spread fast, expanding the franchise's identity. So the question now is, does this standard hold? They keep this energy through September, the team can open up a 2-game cushion and turn the AFC West into controlled territory. But this isn't just about expectations, it's what we saw on the field. A team ready, hungry, united. And believe it, that still wasn't the most unbelievable part of the opener. There are games where a quarterback's talent decides it, others where the defense carries the weight. But every once in a while, you get that rare night when the offensive line writes the story. That's exactly what we saw in Brazil. Joe Alt's debut as the blindside protector. For many, Rashawn Slater's absence sounded like a sentence of fragility. For the second-year tackle, it was an invitation to step into the spotlight. What impressed most wasn't just clean snaps, it was the ease. As if switching sides were a minor practice tweak, he executed reverse footwork with discipline, kept his hands stout against bull rushes, and even isolated against Chris Jones, showed poise. It's no exaggeration to call it teach tape. Any OL coach would run those reps in the room. Alt looked like a seasoned vet, not a young player still figuring out the league. Technically, the impact is enormous. Herbert's confidence rises when he feels a consistent shield on the backside. That expands his progressions, allows deeper route concepts to develop, and gives him the calm to improvise when needed. At the same time, that stability in pass pro balances the run game, because the edge blocking creates angles for outside runs. The synergy between Alt and his neighboring guard was obvious. Precise communication, clean slide calls, zero panic versus stunts. For the franchise, the performance carries strategic weight. Instead of scrambling for a stopgap on the market, the Chargers found the answer in-house. That eases the cap, preserves continuity, and lays a solid foundation for the future. It's not just performance, it's long-term planning clicking into place. For fans used to seeing the line crumble at the worst times, every block felt like a touchdown. Online, Alt's name trended among analysts, calling him an all-pro in the making in his first game at LT. There's an emotional layer too. Stepping into Slater's role, an established star could have created pressure. Alton showed rare composure instead. That mindset is gold for a group that needs collective belief. This isn't only about technique, it's competitive maturity. It's the sense that even when pieces fall, the machine finds someone to hold the structure. And the implication going forward is clear. If Alt sustains this level, Herbert may have the most comfortable protection of his career. together. That changes the offensive ceiling and raises the team's real chances to contend at the top of the conference. Week 1 brought more than a win. It brought security at one of the sport's most critical positions. When even the franchise quarterback's blindside inspires confidence, the entire division has to pay attention. Both faithful, take a breath and hold on to this feeling in São Paulo. The team showed character. Herbert led with cold-blooded precision and pop. Johnston turned doubt into spark. Harbaugh stamped culture and Joe Alt locked down the future. The result? A clear message to the AFC West. Los Angeles won't ask for permission. Now comes a defining stretch against the Raiders and Broncos. Will it be affirmation or illusion? I want to hear from you. Can we dream about leading the division by late September? If you enjoyed it, hit like, subscribe, and share with someone who lives every snap. We're back tomorrow with a full update. Stay tuned and drop your prediction now.